Hello, I'm Jonasz Lewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. They say Russia is a state of mind, and it's kind of true. In Moscow, state propaganda is in overdrive once again. Olga Skabeyeva, the Kremlin's loudest cheerleader, is practically jumping for joy over Donald Trump's latest statements. Apparently, the US president is now Russia's honorary spokesman. Who needs a foreign ministry when you've got Trump casually undermining America's own allies? Of course, not everyone in Russia, in particular in the State Duma, is convinced. Konstantin Zatulin, ever the voice of Soviet-era paranoia, suspects that Trump may not have actually spoken to Vladimir Putin after all. How disappointing. After all, what's an imperial fantasy without a few world leaders bowing before the mighty Tsar in the Kremlin?
Что министр финансов США приедет на Украину уже на этой неделе. Вы не поверите, чтобы обсудить получение доступа США к критическим минералам на Украине. Сам Трамп заявил, что Украина и вовсе целиком может стать частью России. Смотрите.
У них очень ценная земля в плане редкоземельных металлов, нефти и газа и другого. Я хочу, чтобы наши деньги были в безопасности, потому что мы тратим сотни миллиардов долларов. Украинцы могут заключить сделку, они могут не заключить сделку. Однажды они могут стать Россией или могут не стать Россией. Но наши деньги там, и я хочу их вернуть. Так что мы хотя бы не чувствуем себя в дураках.
Дональд Трамп считает деньги рядовых украинцев деньги, которые Зеленский уже согласен отдать. Чтобы компенсировать то, что потрачено, нужно хотя бы $500 миллиарда. Что касается Курской области, там у Украины, слава богу, тоже мало что получается. Плацдарм сокращается невысокими темпами, но все-таки сокращается. Поэтому никто ничего, ни на что менять точно не будет. Отдать придется всю Украину. Здесь могу процитировать Дональда Трампа, который в интервью Fox News сказал: «Велика вероятность, что Украина целиком превратится в Россию». Звучит как план.
Well, let's be honest. While Russia obsesses over Trump's words, back home reality is far less glamorous. Millions struggle to afford basic necessities, entire villages lack proper roads, and soldiers are sent to die in wars they don't even understand. But don't you worry, comrades. While you freeze in your crumbling Soviet-era apartments, the state TV will keep you entertained with tales of American collapse and Russia's inevitable global triumph. The Great Russian Empire, where the government dreams of conquering new lands while its own people freeze in their homes. Welcome to Kemerovo, home to one of the world's largest coal basins, where residents are begging Putin for help because they have no coal. That's right, 733 billion tons of reserves under their feet, but somehow they are shivering like it's the 19th century all over again. Of course, the Kremlin always has money for war. Billions go into tanks, missiles, and the latest failed military offensives. But when it comes to heating homes in Siberia, sorry, comrades, there is just no room in the budget. Instead of warm radiators, the people of Kuzbas get warm propaganda with endless TV rants about NATO, Ukraine, and of course, the glorious Russian world.
Забрали сортовой уголь, оставили нам только землю, которая горит, но она не дает тепла. И если были бы морозы, люди бы просто замерзли. Все те котлы, которые на рынке в основном, они не могут просто топиться этим углем. То есть это несчастье не только нашего населенного пункта, это несчастье не только нашего города, это несчастье всей Кемеровской области Кузбасс. У меня вопрос сейчас к губернатору Кузбасса. Почему вы, уважаемый наш губернатор, молчите? Почему вы посылаете на встречи с людьми тех людей, которые не могут решить эту проблему? Почему у нас забрали сортовой уголь? Почему вы, уважаемый сейчас товарищ Цивилев, бросили область без угля? Вы же сейчас министр энергетики. Уважаемый Владимир Владимирович Путин, я думаю, вы тоже знаете о нашей проблеме, и вопрос лично к вам. Какие вы будете предпринимать меры именно к тем людям, которые обрекают других людей замерзнуть просто зимой?
But honestly, who needs coal when you have imperial ideology? While Russians scrape by on meager pensions and line up for basic necessities, Putin dreams of reviving a fantasy empire that never really existed. It's a beautiful system. The elites steal, the propagandists lie, the soldiers die, and the common folk suffer. But at least they can take pride in the fact that somewhere in some distant land, the Kremlin is still trying to redraw the borders. Alright, imagine you're a tech billionaire, one of the richest people alive. What do? You try to impress the world by cheating at video games? Or maybe you ruin everyone's lives by insisting they are useless and shutting them down, because you also happen to be in control of a massive deregulation department slashing across the US government with reckless abandon. Actually, if you're Elon Musk, you do both. Apparently, slightly chagrined over the gaming community finding out he hired people to farm XP for his Path of Exile character, Musk decided to go on the offensive. First, he obviously unleashed his anger at US aid, everyone's favorite punching bag in recent weeks, because it is apparently leftist and wasteful. But this was clearly not enough, because he then said we should get rid of Voice of America and Radio Free Europe because they are wasteful and leftist. See a pattern emerging here? Also, Elon says, and I quote, "Europe is free now, not counting stifling bureaucracy. Hello!" End of quote. Alright, map of Europe please. See that thing between Poland, Lithuania, Ukraine and Russia? That, my friend, is called Belarus. And we all know Belarus, right? Remember the big guy with a mustache? Putin's best pal has a small white fluffy dog. Also, a bunch of riot policemen. Not small, not fluffy, dressed in black mostly, who have a penchant for hitting protesters with batons and spraying them with tear gas. Ring any bells? Or should I say, hello? If Elon doesn't have a clue how Belarus, which, surprise, surprise, is in Europe, is not a free country because it is controlled by an actual dictator and has over 1,400 political prisoners, maybe let's take a glance further east, shall we? Russia definitely isn't a free country, and at least a part of it lies in Europe geographically, if not mentally. Some countries experience democratic backsliding too, like Georgia, for example. In all those places, independent coverage such as that provided by Radio Free Europe might be a useful tool to fight disinformation and propaganda.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization.
Anyway, the question of propaganda is where it gets really interesting, because either it's a case of a Doge barking up the wrong tree, or maybe Elon Musk doesn't really want anybody to fight disinformation anymore. You see, Elon has a certain track record, and we're not talking about his Path of Exile characters or his Diablo characters. No, it's about who he promotes on X. Elon seems to kind of enjoy his flock of chaos agents, although to his credit, at least he did ban Kanye West over his swastika t-shirts. Elsewhere, Mike Zuckerberg vowed to axe fact-checking on his social media, meaning diversity, equality and inclusivity for troll farms everywhere. Don't you think tech billionaires might be meddling in politics a bit too much? I say enough is enough. Bring back MySpace, Tom. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.